So I have my plan. I have my background and all my scrap papers and construction paper. Should also have scissors and glue for today and a pencil. I'm going to put my notebook to the side, but I still will be looking at it because it's really important to my project. So maybe I'll stick it over here so to remind you I'm still using it. Now today we're going to be doing the bigger things on my picture. I'm not going to start doing my community by starting with the flowers or even the tree or the picnic blanket. I'm excited about those things, but I can't start with those things because I need to do my bigger stuff first to make sure that I have space for everything else. Bigger stuff and also the things that are going to be further back in my picture, like the smaller houses. I'm going to have a lot of the houses, I think, on this hill over here. This house, a couple houses over here that are bigger. Then maybe I'll move to doing the tree. So for houses, if you want them to be a certain color, like I have to do my hospital, I'm definitely going to make my hospital white with a little red cross on it. That will tell everybody exactly what building that is and what job it has. If you don't have any white construction paper left because you've used it, another thing you can use is the scrap leftover white paper that we used for this strip. Remember, I told you to save it, so you could use this as your white paper as well. Now I'm going to measure. Again, I'm holding up my paper first and deciding how big I want my hospital to be. I do want it to be a good size, maybe this big, but I don't want it to take up so much space that I don't have space to do other things in my picture. I'm going to use my pencil to mark where I need to cut. So here's the bottom and there's the side. Now I might, just to make things easy, I might go all the way across and then over. And that way if I need something else in white, this scrap will be easier to cut than the big scrap. But I'll save them. Now this is where the pencil is, so I don't want to see that side. And I want my hospital to cover that little dot. So it's going to go right there. I'm going to use the back, do a little outline. And again, you can totally use glue stick. It dries a little bit faster and it doesn't make your paper wrinkly. Sometimes glue stick, though, doesn't stay on your paper too well. So that is a choice you make yourself. If you use a glue bottle or a glue stick, you do need to kind of hold your shapes down, especially now that there's layers of paper here. You might start to have trouble sticking without some help. Now, I know I'm going to do a little red cross. I'm going to save my details for later, though, because I do have my plan. So I know that's going to be the hospital with the doors and the cross. So I'm going to save that. I do know another big thing that I wanted was some houses over here. Now, my houses do not have to be just the normal, everyday square rectangle with a triangle. We did something with our imagination day where we were creating different things. I have a nice big tall building here. Maybe this one will be more of a condominium or an apartment building. I knew I wanted something big over here, and just because it doesn't look like my sketch doesn't mean I can't do it. I kind of like the idea that there'll be an apartment building somewhere. Now you can see it sticks up way above my paper. So when I flip this over, I want to make sure I just put glue down here. Now this is something left over from all of my scraps. If you don't have them, that's okay. you can do what we talked about before, and that was cutting a strip of paper and then creating shapes with that strip of paper. All right, so I'm gonna just kind of use my finger this time and say, all right, this is how much I need to put, this is how high I need my glue to go. So I'm only going to do a line at the bottom and then maybe a little line right where it's gonna sit. I'm gonna leave a little green on that side too. And I am gonna check and make sure it's not sticking to the table as I glue. Okay, that's good. Now my apartment building is gonna need other things, windows, doors, but again, I'm just going to do my big stuff first. So I plan out where everything's gonna go. I have enough space to do a different house here. I'm looking to see if I have any other scraps. I do have some half circles and triangles. Maybe I could make the house look a little different. Ooh, that looks kind of neat. Remember, you can reuse your shapes. You can also reuse your textured paper too. I might want to do that with, ooh, that'd be kind of a neat detail inside my house. Again, I'm not putting glue all over my shape, just where it's going to touch other paper. Now, as I'm going across, I knew I wanted to put a tree here. So I need to find some brown, but you don't have to make your tree look like a regular tree. If you think you want to make a blue tree with purple leaves, go for it. You don't have to stick with just a regular colored tree. I do have this really cool pattern that I really liked. Maybe I'll make that the leaves of my tree. To do a tree, I'm going to start the same way I did with my other shapes. Start with a strip, whatever color you want. Doesn't have to be brown. However thick you want the trunk to be, because that's going to be the thickest part. And you don't want anything to be touching just the top of the edge of your paper, because it'll just fall off. So you need to make sure it has a good foot, or something that's lower on your paper. I think my tree's going to start here, and my trunk will probably end, I would say, about here. All right, now I do want branches coming out though. And to do that, just like we did in our imagination exercise, I'm just going to change the shape I already have. Now that's going to be kind of tricky, so what I'm going to do is make this part of my tree next. So the leaves are going to come up around here. Now since this is a pattern piece of paper, I don't want the pencil to be on this side, so I'm going to flip it over. Since this is an organic shape, I kind of have to draw it. I'll put some glue on the bottom of my tree, right here. And then just on the edge of this for the leaves. Now I will say, you need to be careful of how high you go from your base, because you might start to see your shapes are my shapes are flopping. Might have made my tree a little too big, but I really like the way it looks, so I'm okay with it being a little floppy. Oh no. So if you get way too much glue, another thing you can do is reuse it with another strip, so it doesn't go to waste or make your paper too goopy. But I'm getting into tiny details now. And that's something that you guys are going to finish on your own. Again, you won't finish this today, but you should be able to start doing the bigger shapes, the bigger houses. You can see I added smaller houses in the background. Because the hills are further back, my houses will be smaller. I also didn't just stick with the simple ones. I did them with the smaller ones simple. But my bigger houses, some of them look a little different, so they were more interesting. Over here I have my little park with a pond and a blanket with an extra tree. I haven't done any windows or doors yet. That's something we'll do later. Get as much done as you can today, and then save it, let it dry, save your scraps, because we're going to use those scraps again to complete our work.